Okay.
So thank you for joining us today. You are watching The Entrepreneurship. We have Chyrell and Rodney. I met Chyrell and Rodney years ago at an event that they were holding. And I've just kind of seen what they were doing online and run into them at different events. And I wanted to talk to them today about what their entrepreneurship journey has been like. So can you both share what you both are up to these days, what you do separately, and what you do together?
Okay. So what? It's nice to see you again, Mala.
Oh, it's nice to see you
And
guys.
yeah, and thanks like for inviting us and having this interview with you. Like to answer your question, hopefully you can hear me. Like what I've been doing these days, like I'm working full time at a youth shelter and also working at a hospital, right? So,
Wow.
but on the side, like we've been doing a lot of like other activities. Like I know it's the pandemic right now, but we've I've been singing still on the side as well, like doing some virtual shows or whatever that's needed for like an event. And aside from that, like we've been busy with other things like recording for people's shows or whatever. Sometimes I do voiceover recordings for some businesses that they need for either for television, for radio, for their anything marketing um, needs that they would like us to create for them. And what other things that we do? uh the other thing is we still like kind of like slow down with the business that we're doing in health and wellness. Like I know that's how we met. I think you've been to our seminars and webinars, or so one time we met on in person. So we've been doing that for a while, but lately I've slowed down a bit with that one and focused more on other things. So yeah, that's what I've been doing at the moment.
I
And
guess it's
yeah,
my
and
turn.
Rodney, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, so just recently, I'm actually working for an internet company, so I'm actually doing a lot of their advertisements, their website, so forth. So it's been the same stuff I've been doing for years, except not in a freelance capacity, although I do still do freelance. Um, so that keeps me busy, but also the amount of music work that I've been asked to do has really increased since the pandemic. I've been doing that for years, but during the pandemic, there's been quite a lot of demand for music. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know if you've seen those virtual choirs on YouTube, things like that. I've been asked to come on as producer and sometimes just do some mixing services and so forth. Meanwhile, at the same time, also serving some of our current clients who are, well, customers who do need some health and wellness support, since they, like Shai said, that's how we both met at the
Mhm.
same time. We did do that quite a lot pre-pandemic, but then during the pandemic, because everybody's more at home, the two things that it seems to be on everybody's mind, and how we're pretty much involved, is definitely a lot of health and wellness, but also a lot of whatever keeps people happy. Nobody can go to the concert venues these days, or even watch a hockey game or such sorts. So now the entertainment has pretty much moved to the online space, if anything. So I work as a designer for an internet company, and I also at the same time still do freelancing, but mostly a lot on the creative side of things, and
Right.
a little bit on the health and wellness side of things.
And what inspired you both to get into entrepreneurship? Like to do something entrepreneurial and independent, and also to have the careers and the work that you've both been doing, like for yourselves. What inspired you to have that duality, and how do you balance it?
um we decided to like to have both because in the future we really wanted to have like our plan really is to enjoy life later on, especially like when we get older, right? We can really like work and work and work. So we wanted to work and at the same time on the side like do our side businesses and build it, and hopefully in the future we'll have more time for ourselves, more time to do whatever we wanted to do. So that's mainly basically the main goal is to be free and want whatever we wanted to do in our lives and enjoy enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, you touch upon that.
Yeah.
I think most of what you said pretty
Mm,
much covers what I was going to say. But other things that inspired us is that you can only do so much at a 9 to 5 job.
mm,
Sometimes you have to deal with different personalities, and you just have to like work along with that. But having your own business means that you can serve the world with whatever it is that your vision is, whatever you have to offer this world, even especially if it's your talent and so forth. Like in many cases, it's usually we just want to work from home. We want to be able to make things happen, whatever comes to our imagination. And it's really nice when you hear somebody say thank you for doing that thing for me. Because of you, I feel better, or because of you, I sound better, or my business is doing so much better because of what is it you do. Like, we can hear that probably in a man like sorry, we can probably hear that from our managers in our jobs, but we can hear it more satisfyingly if we are entrepreneurs ourselves. So it actually helps us get up in the morning even earlier, just to be able to look forward to hearing more hearing more compliments that we've made a difference in people's lives that way. But yeah, I mean, usually it's stems from probably not liking the 9 to 5 at the beginning, but then afterwards seeing that whatever we go through in our day jobs, we're going to be able to find a purpose out there with what we do.
Wow. And how do you, having so many things, like being part of so many things and having like multiple moving parts, how do you schedule your time? How do you have enough energy? How do you guys do that together?
I think like after coming from work and you're so tired, when you get home, I mean, you can just like relax and stay, spend more time with your spouse or your husband, your wife, or your family if you're with your family. You just need to like find the time to do it, because it's not sometimes. Sometimes I just don't schedule it. Like I just like after work, I just wanted to relax and spend time with family, and at the same time like you also have time also like after work on a little bit on the business that you wanted to like to build, right? But I mean you just have to like figure out how you're going to be when and what time you're going to be doing it, but you can't be like doing it like work and work and then without like trying to like relax and rejuvenate, because it's or else you won't be able to work if your health is really suffering, right? So always have to make sure that you're healthy, and then you can like be more spend more time with your family.
I'm okay. This is where I'm a little different in that regard. So,
Yeah, he is
I
different.
believe work is good for the soul. But I do agree with some things as well. I mean, you do have to, give yourself a rest. I mean, like the Earth wasn't created in like 20 days straight. It was created in 6 days and 7 days. I mean, if you look into the biblical perspective, but uh, in order to do a lot of things, you got to start with what you do really best. That's so simple to you, but looks really hard to other people, and that it's going to make a difference in some people's lives or some people's businesses lives. Start with what or start with what you love doing. Like if it is like in this case, let's say I love to draw, so I'll probably offer some cartooning services on, let's say, fiverr.com or something like that. And then once I got the ball rolling, you get into sort of a groove. Then they can look into another thing and say, what else can I do to give to other people? And then you kind of get a sense of how you can manage your time that way. Obviously, you're going to have to block out the 9 to 5 on your calendar because that's going to be dedicated to your job. Sometimes I can squeeze in. Here's the beautiful thing about working from home too. It's like if you have downtimes, then you just do whatever you can during those downtimes until someone pops up on your MS Teams or something and has a request for you, and then you just do the job and do it to the 110% best that you can. And then once 5 o'clock rolls around, if you're already feeling emotionally or emotionally exhausted, for example, from a day of work and from a lot of stress, you can wind down for as long as you need to, but then just get on to something that you really love to do. And if it's going to be music, I would say just schedule parts of your week. Like this is what I would do. I would schedule Mondays to be my music nights, and then Tuesdays to be my health nights, Wednesdays to be etc., and Thursday and so forth. So that way I have some sort of routine that I can follow, that it becomes a standard and make everyday living and everyday conducting of business.
And what is it like to be a couple and work together? What has that journey been like? And what have some of your lessons that you've learned along the way for anyone who's interested in being able to work with their partner?
Okay. It's challenging sometimes. For example, like Rodney works from home, right, all the time, and I work on site, and I get home, and when I get home, sometimes I just don't want to go out sometimes. And for him, like he works from home, he wants to go out. So like we have that moment sometimes that we have different like we want to do different things, but then sometimes what we do is just have to compromise and like spend time. And even if sometimes I'm tired or don't want to go out, then I still go out and go out with Rodney. But it's not just once in a while that I would feel that. But I think it's the time sometimes, yeah, the schedule. And sometimes we might not agree with some things, or sometimes like we just have to do our best to really to talk it over and see how we can what we can work out, and that would be best for both of us. That's it.
In some cases, how we work together, like especially if you're working in business or we have our jobs. So like what Shai says is like, of course, the 9 to 5 can drain you, right? But when we come home, we do have, if there's something that's going to be coming up, we do the best we can to schedule it. And if we're just feeling a little bit tired, for example, we'll probably talk to our clientele and ask them if we can move the time to maybe an hour or so. Or if we have just a little bit of energy, or if we have something that can actually just give us a little bit of a boost, we'll take that as long as it's done in a healthy way. And then what we usually do is we'll just designate what is the simplest to each other. Like if let's say Shai is really good at connecting with people, and me, I'm good at producing something from the computer, then what Shai would do, she'd probably get on the phone, give some people a call, and then we do a conference call together. Or we'll just probably switch the thing around. Well, I'll probably call the people, and then Shai can support me that way too. So we support each other, like when we're running home-based business, even if it's just after work as well. So I mean, working together, we have to not just remind ourselves that we're business partners, but we're also pretty much each other's best friends, and best friends always have each other's backs. I like to go with the philosophy that your really best friends are the ones who are also going to support your business, and also who can work alongside with you in business. Those who can't really support you in your business, I mean, they can still be friends. They just aren't going to be friends you're going to not do business with. So you just have to, and it's the same thing with this relationship too. We have to know each other's strengths, each other's personality differences, and just accept them and find a solution or a common ground as to how we can work together. And in the end, just keep a win-win mindset all times.
And have you always worked together since you got married, or was it like something that you talked about and then decided?
Sorry, I didn't hear what your question was. I had to like to speaker. Yeah. We always work together. Ever since we were married, we worked before we got married, but mostly in music.
Always, even when we were friends,
Even
I
when
was
we're
her producer. And then whenever we did our health and wellness stuff, we always got together. We would do that mostly together because there's always something. There's usually a strength that each of us can offer, like especially when we're helping a client. She may be able to say something that I might not remember, for example, or I may be able to say something from my knowledge that she may not remember either
yeah.
at the same time. So it's really good to have a tag team or a double team in a good way, because we're supporting each other through the good times and through the challenging situations. So that way, regardless of what the outcome is, we're going to be able to experience it together. So if it is a win, then we'll celebrate in some sort of way, like a small way. But if it results in something that isn't that great, then we try our best to support each other emotionally through that, by giving ourselves some pep talks, or probably just playing some sort of like Tony Robbins audio in the car, and we just listen to it to each other with each other until we're both energized again, emotionally energized. Did you want to say something, sweetie?
Like to add to the like when have we been working together? Like as I said, as friends, and we got married. It's just that we have a lot of interests, the same interests that uh, it just like naturally happened that we helped each other with anything that we wanted to do. I think that's what happens. What happened? What happens?
Well, it's like how good friends, right?
Yeah.
Good friends. Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be a married couple, but
Yeah.
but we're still friends. We're still best friends, whether we're married or not.
Mm.
And best friends really help each other, even in business. I mean, if there are tough times, the important thing is that we learn each other. We understand each other's personality traits, how we react, and so forth, and how we support each other by helping calm the other person down based on what we know of the person, without overstepping their boundaries and things like that. So for example, I have to be a little bit more gentler as you can tell from how Shai talks, when there's like a heated situation in business, and then at the same time, what Shai tries to do, she knows that I like to be pumped up, so she'll probably play something from Tony Robbins, or she'll try to remind me of what's great, and so forth. And whatever it takes to remind each other of how great we are to each other and to the world, and like why we're born, why we were born to do things the way, why we're born to do the things that we were born to do to help serve the world. And reminders for each other, it really helps a lot, as opposed to trying to in some cases, some people like you don't want to put the other person down, but instead you want to make sure that at the end of every business transaction or activity, it's going to be a learning experience, one way or the other. There always has to be a learning experience. Want to say something else, sweetie? Or
No, that's it. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
And where would you say, like, what can you say about longevity? Like, how do you do your entrepreneurial stuff over a long period of time, through up and down recessions, pandemic? Like, how does that longevity develop for you personally? Where did you get that from, and how are you able to stay focused and make sure that things would continue year after year, even when things were challenging? Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever it is that we're doing, I mean, based on personality, it's got to be simple and fun to begin with in the first place. Because if it's something that we're not going to enjoy, that's not going to last long. There won't be any longevity to that. But if it's something we're really, really like, we really love doing, whether it's talent based or whether it's purpose based, especially if it's purpose based, the things that we do, we do our best to make sure that it's something that has a purpose. If it doesn't have a purpose, obviously it's not going to be it's not going to have any longevity. The things that we do, there is a purpose to what we do. Actually, in every business endeavor, whether it be our health and wellness business or our creative endeavors, or in Shai's case, like let's say voiceovers, we have to make sure there's a purpose in them. And then with the longevity part, even if we do go through some challenges and some really scary situations, it's not going to stop us because we enjoy doing it, and that's what keeps it going. So you got to love what you got to do. There are different philosophies on that, where people say you shouldn't do what you love if you want to make a lot of money or whatever. I totally believe that if you love what you're doing, every day is not going to feel like work. Do you want to add to that, sweetie?
Yes, yeah, I agree with you with that one. Like if you like what you're doing, you sometimes you don't really notice that time is passing, the time is passing by quickly, but because you enjoy what you're doing a lot of things. And I think that doesn't matter, like, if you have that passion and what you're doing. And the other thing too, like if you like, there are times for sure, like once in a while we do get like out of focus of for something, right? But sometimes uh if you get to like get out of it for a bit, and then try to rethink and refocus again and reevaluate the things that's happening, and maybe sometimes it helps, and it would help a lot to be able to go back and focus again on what you wanted to do.
And what would you say, after so many years of building something, what would you say that you wish you knew when you started that you know now?
Hmm.
Well, one of them would be learning taxes as much as possible, because the
Yeah.
tax laws do change. And if you've got to get yourself a tax consultant as much as possible. Accountants are just a part of the picture, but they cannot always help in some situations. So you also need tax consultants. It's good to have a legal team at the same time, because tax laws do change. And if you do something that worked well last year but doesn't this year, then you're going to get a very interesting invitation, or some sort of one of those lovely brown letters that like a lot of people usually don't like to see. But you'll do learn as much as you can about taxes. I mean, you can't learn it all, but at least learn the best you can, but also have some tax consultation, tax advice, not just from an accountant, but from a tax consultant. And yeah, and also at the same time, while I know there are people who don't like paying tax, the truth is, while you still have to take care of taxes, you have to remind yourself, even in the beginning, that taxes are not supposed to be scary. It's just an indication that if you're paying it, you're getting success because you're making money. You
Yes.
have any idea?
And
You have
just, yeah,
anything
and
else?
you're sharing it to, just sharing it to the people. That's what it is. I'm trying to think like what would be something that I wish that I had learned before, right?
Oh, well, there's also getting a
Maybe,
mentor.
yes, I think that's one. I was about to talk about that. Like maybe like more of personal and professional development. Like I wish I had learned more. I knew when I was a younger, I just started into personal development when I was in my 30s. So I felt like I wish I had knew about it like young when I in my early years. Maybe it would have helped me, in how to decide in deciding my life, in my whole life. That's what I think that I should have, like, I wished I had known long time ago. Yeah.
Oh, and also I wanted to add to that. Besides a mentor, there is a difference between mentoring and coaching, and it's really important to get a coach. I mean, if you can do your best in the beginning. If I were to talk to myself, save as much money as you can. If you're still working at a job but want to start a business, save the money to hire a coach. Coaches are not cheap, right? But they will mean the difference between you doing like lots of money and having success, or or if you're not going to have a coach, then you're putting yourself at risk at the same time. I mean, doing everything yourself, don't do everything yourself. Everybody needs a coach. Figure skaters need coaches. Singing. I still have a singing coach, even though I still sing. Chyrell still
Yeah.
needs a singing coach.
Although
We
I
all do
coach
that.
people, to singing, but we have a coach. Yeah.
Just two at the same time, right? So
Yeah.
we all need a coach. We all need somebody to tell us that we may be doing something wrong, and this is how you can do it. And also, there are times when you're really bummed down. You still need the coach to remind you of your greatness, and that's so important. Because left to your own devices, you'll be just sitting in a corner wondering what went wrong. Whereas a coach can see the entire big picture and let you know what's really going on, and then they will help you steer your own ship around. And that makes a huge difference. So I would say get a coach, get a mentor, and know your taxes if anything.
So for young people who are struggling, like there's some young people that struggle with the idea of having a regular job and doing their entrepreneurship on the side. Like they feel like, oh, I'm not like going all in, I'm not being motivated enough, or I'm not being enthusiastic. And they have this kind of guilt thing, and like they struggle with some young people like struggle with that idea that they're supposed to just be an entrepreneur and be part of the startup scene. What can you say to young people who are struggling with that around just like what the benefits are to for the people who would feel more comfortable doing both? What can you say to them to help them kind of like get over that anxiety or feeling like they're doing something wrong?
You go first.
Okay. Well, first of all, you gotta remind yourself that you're a human being. Just take a step back, relax. Take a breather. And when everything's just going crazy, if you're experiencing imposter syndrome, or if you're like you said, if you're feeling guilty and so forth, that's the moment when you're getting closer to some sort of breakthrough. It's just not showing itself. It's like a 3 feet from gold sort of a scenario. But what you need to do is you need to step back, give yourself a few days to rejuvenate your mind, because the mind can only take so much, and you just need to step back, let your mind reconfigure things, and then the answers will come to you uniquely for your situation, in your business situation. Some of them will be standard advice for your situations, but some will be extremely unique, and you may come up with ideas that, yes, I think I'm going to need somebody like a coach, or I might need some inspiration, or or maybe you may have to use that time to reevaluate what is it that you're doing and what your goals are. And as much as possible, oh, I should have said this too in the beginning, you need to have a business plan, at least some sort of goals.
Yes.
Just take that step back. You're only human. I mean, and try to think of yourself as a leader rather than a manager, because it's so easy to get into the managerial role, forgetting that when you started the business, you had a vision, you had an idea for how you wanted it to become, or how you wanted to run it, and so forth. You just have to take a step back and remind yourself as to why you got into business in the first place. Any ideas, sweetie?
Yeah, I think I agree with it. I mean, with all Rodney is saying, like, especially like with the youth right now, there's so many things going on. There's so many ways on how, like, ways to learn. There's so many resources out there, and I think if they feel like they're overwhelmed or something, like what Rodney's saying, you have to step back. Yeah, it's like for me, I pray, and ask help, to guide me and keep my mind like clear and be able to go on. The other thing that I can think of, like the youth, maybe that would help them, is to maybe set the daily goals for themselves, so at least it doesn't really like overwhelm them too much. Like if you do like a daily one that you can make, and then have that, still have that big goal that Rodney was saying, like, yeah, still have that purpose, right? But then if you have like try to make some baby steps, I think that might like help them a bit in not getting overwhelmed or feeling guilty, or like all those different feelings or emotions that a person would have, like when they're challenged with when challenges come. That's what I'm saying.
And the thing is, as well, as much as possible, when your mind has already had enough as well, and you do have to step back if you can. Also, try to put in the blinders to anyone who could give you some negative
Yeah.
feedback or anything that's negative, as much as possible. If you're not the kind that watches news, bravo, right? That don't watch the news, but maybe just try to find something that's positive on YouTube if you have access to that, or hang around. I mean, I know, I know in lockdown pandemics, we can't do much. So just take an inventory as to who are the most inspiring, positive people that you know personally. And if you can't meet with more than 5 people, then at least just meet with one person if you can, some way that you can do it within reason, and make sure that this is somebody who can lift you up, and remind you of your greatness. And if you can't have access to somebody physically, then there's always a lot of great YouTube videos. Just watch, I don't know, watch some Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, for example, or Tony Robbins, or Grant Cardone, or Marie Forleo. I mean, people who will like lift you up at the same time, like especially when you're going through all those really difficult times. I mean, when you're really going through tough times, you're already in a dark place. You need someone who can become the light in your situation, so that way you can lift yourself. They're not going to be able to lift you, but they're going to inspire you to be able to lift yourself. And the thing is that always do positive affirmations in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, even if you had a really bad day, because the human mind, it soaks everything that's surrounding you, right? And we are always picking up negative things, even if we're positive people. So you got to constantly, every day on a daily basis, keep feeding your mind with positive stuff, even though there's going to be some negative things that come towards you, right? So it's like filling up an emotional bank account. Just keep it as positive as you can, and when you can't, just keep, digesting that good stuff, because it's just reality. I mean, without enemy opponents, you can't have a championship. Like the Toronto Blue Jays could not win their World Series without taking on the two opposing baseball teams in their 2 years. They made it extremely hard for the Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays always kept themselves positive, because they were associated with positive, like-minded people within their team. And they just work together that way. So just surround yourself with a lot of positivity, regardless of what you're going through, because the human mind is like Play-Doh. It's just going to keep shifting shapes in and out, up and down, and so forth. And only your own spiritual awareness is the one that can actually control your mental focus. And then when you get into the mental focus part, then you can control your mental focus from there, and how you handle the world.
Yeah, and I think you should just be grateful too for everything,
Oh yeah,
every day you have to be
gratitude's
grateful.
huge.
And I remember, Mala, I remember before you keep on doing those affirmations with then which you do all the time.
The gratitude,
Oh, you guys remember?
important.
Yeah.
That's what you were known for. The gratitude device that you had, because let's just put it this way. Because of gratitude, and this is for the young people that you're mentioning about, who are struggling. Go back to a place of gratitude. It's the most powerful uh, tool that humanity can ever have, regardless of whether you're going through really tough times. Just find reasons to be grateful. And you know what? The bad things that you go through, it's not going to be forever, as long as you're focused on gratitude. Keep focusing on gratitude every day of your life, and you have no idea how magical that can be. But yeah, I remember your gratitude device as well. I mean,
Your
that
affirmations
helps
work really.
people. That helps a lot of people, believe me.
And for people who are struggling with being creative, but then also being detail oriented and having to do the paperwork and the things that, for some people that struggle with having that balance, like sometimes they're too visionary, and then they stop. Like once they have their plan, they have a hard time getting over that stuck place to actually like implement it, because of all the details and resistance that can come up. And then for some people, they're very detail oriented, but then they lose sight of the vision. So for people who struggle with being creative and doing paperwork and getting the finances right and the administration, do you have any guidance around that?
I think what we need to, for somebody who's that, creative, but there's too much like work on the side, I think you will have to find somebody who will be able to help you, who's good in doing other things. Sometimes you have to delegate your work. Like if
It's
you
the
feel
Henry
like
Ford approach.
the what the
Henry
hand
Ford approach.
oh, Henry Ford approach. Yeah, you have to like know what your strengths are and focus on that one and work on that one, and the other little things that you cannot do or you would like to do. Most of us would like to do everything because we want to control the whole your whole the business, right? But try to see if you can delegate and focus more on what you are more you have your strength, what your strengths are, and do that instead.
Well, and also make sure that the people that you delegate to, they can buy into your vision too.
Mm,
If they don't really if they don't really buy into your vision, then you gotta find people who will, who actually understand what your vision is and how, and you just ask them how they can support you, if anything. Uh, like the days of the self-made millionaire, for example, it's not what it's cracked up to be, because like every self-made millionaire actually had to outsource or get someone to help them out, because in the end the self-made millionaire actually is the person who just envisions things and does what they do best, but then they have to do the nitty gritty, like just coming up with the business plan and knowing just a little bit of accounting, just a little bit, not to the point where it's just going to overtake your life, and then delegate that to someone you can hire online if you can, or in person if you're able to do it. And then you just do what you do best, and then continue, and leave the rest of your mind to envisioning what the future can be for your business at the same time. But delegation is going to be huge in this one, the Henry Ford approach.
mhm.
And are there any projects or anything that you'd like people that you'd like to share about that are coming up, or what your goals are for the next year, 5 years? Do you have anything you'd like to share?
Any projects like in music? I have something coming up actually, like I'm doing a little show, but not really like it's more of a celebration for the Filipino month for this month, and that's one thing that it's coming up. It's on June 18th that I'm doing. um Other things, I don't have any other, like mostly what I'm doing, as I said, like a lot of like invitations for like singing or doing some recordings. So that's mostly what my projects are at the moment. But in the future, I would like to go back to more into our health and wellness, trying to help people, and especially now, during the pandemic, like a lot of people need to know more on how to be healthy and how to keep themselves healthy in a natural way. In a natural way. Say, I can't think of any other projects that
Well,
maybe Rodney has some.
sure. Yeah. So I just finished doing a big project recently where it involved singers from both Canada and the United States, and we just finished producing it not too long ago. And we have a music video. It's called Love Rules
Rules
the
the
World.
world.
And I collaborated with somebody in Utah, and the song is about bringing love back to the world. We're living in a world where love should rule the world rather than anything else ruling the world instead. Right? I mean, if love can rule the world, this world would probably continue, but probably even be better, if anything. And what we're hoping to do is we can get at least 1 million people listening to this video. It's on YouTube right now. It's called Rules the World, by Transformational Songs. It's based in Utah. But we got musicians from Toronto, Milton, all the way to Utah and Miami, and we collaborated all together. So that was one of our biggest projects. And on the health and wellness side of things, we're constantly just keeping an ear open for whoever has some health concerns. And we plan to do some webinars, and probably starting next month. I shouldn't say probably. I would say starting next month, we're planning to do some health and wellness webinars, but we're just keeping our ears to the ground to see what is a big need. And obviously, right now, immune system is huge everywhere we
Yeah.
go. And then, of course, there's also people staying at home a whole lot. Weight weight results. I mean, weight management results are going to be pretty much big too. So we're just keeping our ears to the ground if anything. Other than that, I'm also planning on working on another music video that hopefully we can have the world involved. And I'm planning to like reach out to a couple of people from different countries. It's to hopefully give people an understanding of other cultures, and hopefully this would reduce racism to zero as much as possible, because we are living in one world. This is our only home. It's our only home it's our only home in this universe. So we just need to learn about each other, and and let love rules the world. That's the other song too, right? As well. So right. The funny thing about the pandemic is that with music, it's like now there's a new purpose. We want to be able to bring love back into the world. If anything, love and gratitude. So I mean, that's some of the things that I've been tasked with working on, and of course, I get a Chyrell to participate in those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's those are some of the things that are coming up, if anything.
Great. And where can people follow you online? Like, do you have Instagram, and where can they follow you?
Oh, can we follow? I'm on Instagram. My name there is Chyrell, which is my first name. It's Chyrell, and you can find me there. On Facebook, it's Chyrell Singer. That's my music page, and my first name Chyrell Singer. What else? What else do I have? But I think those are mostly like Chyrell.com, my website, where they can find like the recordings that I've done, and they can listen to some music, or maybe purchase some of the songs or the album that I have there.
And in my case as well, there's Rod Ron Music, which you can find on Instagram. Rod Ron, RODRON Music on Instagram. My name, Rodney Ronquillo, RONQUILLO. Just look for me. You'll if you see my face, you'll see my profile, if anything.
Yeah.
And also, we are. What is it? We were doing some healthy life path stuff as well. So just look for Healthy Life Path also on Facebook, and you'll see what's coming up in terms of health and wellness, holistic health and wellness related events that we're planning to do as well.
And to mention Fiverr, oh yeah, like
Fiverr,
my Fiverr, yeah.
yeah,
I'm also on
Fiverr and
Fiverr,
SoundCloud.
so we offer like singing lessons, or recordings for voiceover recordings for people, and you can find me on Fiverr at Chyrell, my first name again, Chyrell.
Also, audiojungle.net. Look for Rodron, RODRON. You'll see my catalog of music that I'm working on. One of my songs actually was played on in a reality TV show in Miami
Cool.
called Whatever It Takes. Yeah, I don't know if you know Grant Cardone.
I've heard of him. Yeah, I've seen him online.
Well, I was watching an episode of one of his reality TV shows, and it boiled down to the remaining two finalists. And then I was listening to it because I had one of my songs had a big, huge order from Audio Jungle. I'm listening to it, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, if it goes bum, 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 then it's mine. And I'm listening to it, and it goes bum, bum, bum. But that's my song. Oh my God, Grant Cardone. He's used my music. That's so awesome. So he was. So now I know where that huge license purchase came. I mean, what you call? I think. Let's see.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's called Whatever It Takes. So I mean, he had a TV show. It was a reality TV show, and my music was on the final two, and he chose one person, and the music was done. From there, and then they changed the music from there. But my music was on the TV show. So, yay! It's called Whatever It Takes. If you look it up on Grant Cardone, I think it's second episode of Whatever It Takes.
Yeah. So like what Rodney's like for future projects, mostly what Rodney and I are thinking is like to create more music that would inspire people and motivate people. So hopefully that would be something that we
and get the word out for better, holistic health and wellness. Not just eat better, but good health isn't always about nutrition. It's also about doing the things you love, because meditation doesn't mean, you know, like totally doing this and so forth. Meditation could be playing the electric guitar. It could be being on a
washing the
swing.
dishes,
But some people like, well, yeah, it could be washing dishes, or it could be painting a
doing
picture if
laundry.
that's what you love. You know, meditation is going to be unique to every person as well. My brother, for example, he loves to code and program. That's his meditation, and so be it. You know, I mean, it's not always just about just sitting alone and just you know, like doing some sort of chant, or just being in your own space. Sometimes it's just the things that you love to do, you know, whether it be your hobby or your passion or whatever. That's also a form of meditation. I mean, being healthy is all about being happy, you know, being happy, finding your happiness, finding your happy space in this world, you know, and whatever leaves a smile on your face, it also leaves a smile on your soul and your heart too at the same time.
Great. Thank you both so much for joining us today on the entrepreneurship.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.